to another edition of Crime Fighters, the Police and You. Once again, it's another loaded episode in which the Commissioner of Police Interpol, Mr. Afiz Ringim, educates our viewers on the modus operandi of Nigerian tricksters, popularly called 419. The police also allege that the Odua People's Congress, OPC, is at it again. They accuse the OPC of baiting one of their men with acid. It's a gruesome act and sight. So we warn that our viewers' discretion is required when this story is presented. Sit back once again and learn a whole lot from this episode of the program.
Yes, let me use this opportunity to
Crime Fighters, the police and you. Bridging the gap between the police and you.
The Nigerian society of late 80s to early 90s witnessed the emergence of an intelligent and sophisticated spectre of criminal activity, the advanced fee fraud. Popularly known as 419, this criminal act has had as its victims high-profile members of the society, foreign nationals, and even governments of nations. In this episode of Crime Fighters, the Police and You, we shall examine the phenomenon called 419. And to do justice to the topic, we have Mr. Afiz Ringim, the Commissioner for Police Interpol. We shall be looking at the tricks employed by the fraudsters, their operational modes, as well as how to avoid being hoodwinked by advanced fee fraudsters.
You see, the 419 thing in this country, I can say almost started the late 70s and early 80s, especially during the period of the essential commodity. Now, the local 419er then, he was used to writing fake and false invoices. He would take you to a store and, or a warehouse and give you the impression that he had cement, salt, rice, stockfish, and the rest of those such items, and take you to another place again, collect money for you, give you an invoice, give you a fake receipt. By the time you get to the store or you get to the warehouse to pick those things, nobody would be there. Now, it then graduated gradually to a situation where the 419er would invite someone and tell them that he had cocoa, he had rubber, he had such exportable items. We then went on to a situation when we had the contract period in this country during the reconciliation, rehabilitation, after the Civil War also, where a lot of contractual jobs were given, and when we had a lot of money, the NNPC was given a lot of contract building of refineries and other things. Now, the average foreigner at that time believed Nigeria had so much money because of the construction that was going on. And so any story that was told to the foreigner that there was this excess money to be skimmed off the contract given to a company, the foreigner really believed that yes, such money was there, because some of them were here and they actually saw that there was too much money in this country. And they saw the prevalence of corruption at that time and believed that anything could happen in this country as far as stealing money or collecting money or skimming up money from government contract is concerned. Now, we went on to a situation where the 419er is now on the internet and he is inviting people left, right, and center. A period came when we cooperated with the postal authorities, and in order to cut down on the number of requests or forged letters or fake letters or 419 letters were going out, we cooperated with the postal authorities, and we were checking them from the post office, we were checking them from the airport, and our counterparts abroad were lending us a hand, and we were checking those cartons, boxes, and cargoes to make sure that we stopped or we minimized the proliferation of 419 letters. Now they have gone on the superhighway and they are contacting people via the internet. But before then, in between, we also have our local criminals who do not have access to such machinery, and they would call you on the phone and give you the impression that they are calling from abroad and they have an urgent request for you. Oh, okay, is that Mr. XYZ? Yes, I am. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, the man has left. Now, meanwhile, they know that the guy has left that address. He's no longer on that phone. They would call that phone and tell him they have a proposal. Oh, the guy who was there, we used to cooperate with him. He used to buy this and that items for us. Would you be able to do the same thing? I'm calling from Germany. I have $1 million, $2 million that I want to invest in Nigeria in real estate. Can you help me? Now, these and such other trickeries are what now Nigerians use on fellow Nigerians in this country in order to make the ordinary Nigerian part with his money. I'll tell you something. Last week, a medical doctor who has a hospital, he was called on the phone by someone who said he was calling from Abuja and that he wanted to buy some papers. These are special papers that there's only one shop that sells such papers. If the medical doctor could go there and check that the man was so busy in Abuja, he will not be able to come to Lagos now, that all he wanted was for this guy to go to the shop and buy these papers. If he came, he would give him some 100, 200, even 1,000% interest. Now, unknown to this medical doctor, this guy is just an ordinary 419. All he wanted was to send him on a wild goose chase, send him to those people with whom he has prearranged, who will now sell useless papers, worthless papers to him. Now, this particular story is that the guy wanted some 10 million naira worth of papers, and that he would give the man about 1,000% interest. This is certainly too good for any reasonable, responsible Nigerian. But unfortunately, this guy went to the address, found the address, found ordinary people who are not certainly at the same footing as himself in the society, and gave them his money, collected these useless papers. By the time he came back home, sat down and was waiting for this guy to come from Abuja, it was too late for him, because it was until late that he discovered that there was nobody coming, and by the time he went back to return those papers, for which he paid about 10 million naira, there was nobody in that shop. That shop was primarily set up for that purpose. That paper is an ordinary paper, but the guy who called him from Abuja told him that that is a paper with which they used to print hard currency. That was what made it very, very costly. That is a medical doctor.
I urge you to watch the program of Crime Fighters, the police and you. I bet you have a lot to learn.
Crime Fighters, the police and you. The #1 security program on television.
And I'll tell you another story. A friend of mine in the military, somebody called his office, the military office, and asked after somebody, and the guy told him, look, the officer has been transferred. The guy who called and said he was from abroad was lamenting, oh, we used to do a big business with this guy. How can I get him? He said, look, I can't get him for you. Then he started, He started courting this military officer. Eventually, the military officer fell for the trick, and they sent him on a wild goose chase in his military uniform with his orderly and driver. He was sent to Abeokuta to buy a worthless stone, which he brought to his house, and was waiting for this guy to come in from Germany and pay him in hard currency and collect. Now, the essence of all this, what we want the general public to understand, is that anybody calling you on the phone or sending you an internet message or even coming personally to relate such stories to you, you shouldn't believe them. You shouldn't believe them. All they want is to send you on a wild goose chase, to send you to a prearranged individual whom you would give your money to and from whom you would collect worthless papers or worthless stones that they pretend to be precious, or worthless metals. This is essentially what they do. We still have Nigerians highly placed, highly trained, highly intelligent, in top places, military officers, police officers, entrepreneurs, businessmen, industrialists, everyone getting crooked by these 419ers.
I don't know what is happening. I cannot just be losing on my neck. I don't know what is happening. And you better do something because I'm losing. I know how much I'm losing every week as a businessman. And I can't afford to be losing 70 million naira every week. That is a very huge sum of money. I can't afford to.
And I think it's about time that Nigerians realized that if it sounds too good to be true, then it definitely is not true. And people should be wary of such individuals, strangers, who would call them in the middle of the night, in their places of work, in their mosques, in their churches, in their industries, and tell them, look, I have this money, I want to invest in real estate. The offices that are dealing with all such investments are there. Why can't these persons who have so much money to invest go to these respective offices? Why do they look for you? But I tell you what I think. It's my opinion that unfortunately some Nigerians who hear all kinds of slogans, or this is my year of emancipation, or this is my year of liberation, or this is my year of success, when such things come to them, they wrongly, to my mind, they very wrongly believe that yes, that is true. Nobody emancipates you from your poverty unless and until you put in some real hard work. You cannot just be sleeping in your house and be praying for God to give you food, and then food comes into your mouth and fills your belly. You must go out to work. There is no way you can make a successful They relate to you in relation to other people that you know. They'll tell you, okay, you see Mr. XYZ, you see that big man, the man with this industry and those cars and those others. We made him. We made him. We did some deals together, and that's the reason why he's so stinking rich today. If you give me your cooperation, I will lead you to individuals whom I took this guy to, and they made him rich, and I will make you rich. Now, if you can make me rich, why don't you make yourself rich? You can equally make yourself rich without coming to make me rich, and then I take part of it and give you. We have so many stories like this and others to tell.